ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون.
ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين. قال الله تعالى: قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء تعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب. وقال الله تعالى: هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض هو العزيز الحكيم. وقال الله تعالى: قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. سبحان الأبدي الأبدي، سبحان الواحد الأحد، سبحان الفرد الصمد، سبحان من رافع السماء بغير عمد، سبحان من خلق الخلق، سبحان من خلق الأرض على ماء جمد، سبحان من خلق الخلق فأحصاهم عددا، سبحان من قسم الرزق ولم ينس أحدا، سبحان الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، سبحان الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. قابل احترام دوستور भाई.
Respected brothers and elders, it's from the benevolence of Allah that He has enabled us to gather here, and gather here in connection with the effort of the prophets to think, to sit. The one who listens and the one who listens and the one who speaks has a value. We say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, that all praise belongs to Allah. Many places in the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He begins with His hamd, with His praise, with His greatness and majesty. All power belongs to Allah. Allah is pure and we should understand His gravity. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in Hadith Qudsi, I am Allah. There is none other than me. I am one. I am the King of Kings. And the hearts of the kings is in my hands. The slave of me who obeys me, I soften the heart of the king. And the king will treat him with good conduct. And when my slave will disobey me, then I will stiffen the heart of the king. of the king, and he will be an oppressor to the slave that disobeys me. Allah is the one who has the power over the dominions. He is the one of the knowledge of the dominions. Allah He sees. Allah He hears. The things that we see, the things we hear, the things that we don't understand, Allah is within His comprehension. The reality of Allah had been established in the hearts of the Sahaba. Throughout the day, throughout the time, they would reflect about Allah. They would contemplate about Allah. One Sahabi, he was dying. He was in the jungle. One kafir came. The Sahabi asked him that I don't know the way. That it's difficult to find your way in the jungle. How did you find me? I lost my way. The disbeliever, he said, he says that the animal that was with you, through his footsteps, I was guided to you. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who can guide. He guides through the means of footsteps. He's such a guider. There is no guidance comparable to Allah. The Alameen is in the control of Allah. All the nizam that we see, from the east to the west, He is the Rabb of the east and He is the Rabb of the west. Allah is the one that nothing within the heavens and in the earth is hidden from Him. Everything is before Allah. And Allah He sees, and Allah is aware, and Allah He hears. And even within the depths of the darkest of mountains, and the noise that comes from within the depths of that mountain, Allah He hears. Allah He knows. Allah is the one. He knows what is within the hearts, what is concealed within the hearts. And there is not a leaf that falls without the knowledge of Allah, without the awareness of Allah. It is fard on the mu'min to understand who is Allah. Who is Allah? The one who thinks about Allah, talks about Allah. The rahmah of Allah descends upon that person. The mercy of Allah descends on that person. insan is made of the soul and of the body. The soul, it comes from the heavens, from the arsh. It has a belonging and an attachment with Allah. And the body that Allah He created, it belongs from the earth, and the necessities, whatever the body will need, the means of which will be from the earth. The revelation that came upon Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was from the heavens, was for the ruh, was for our soul. And the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his tariq was from the heavens, was from the arsh. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he informed his Sahaba, he had them well informed and well educated of the importance of attaching their souls with Allah. Have connection with Allah, connect the soul with Allah, and Allah He will be pleased with you, and Allah will take care of your affairs. The revelations that came from Qur'an, this is Tabligh. It was never the case that the revelation came and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he kept that for himself. Whatever was descended upon him, he made Tabligh. He would spread, he would share, he would establish. The Tabi'een, the pious predecessors, and the ulama are recipients of revelation from the Arsh of Allah. Iman is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, to bring belief in this kalim. Who is Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the Habib of Allah, the beloved of Allah. His sifat, his qualities were not known only by mankind but also known by the animal kingdom. His maqam and his station with Allah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made reference to the prophets of the past, He would make reference to them with their names. With Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he had a khas, he had a specific and an exclusive greeting and an exclusive reference. He used to call him Ya Ayyuhar Rasul. Musa alayhi salam, he was known as the Kalimullah, and Isa alayhi salam was known as Ruh Allah. Ibrahim alayhi salam was known as the Khalil of Allah, Khalilullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, He gave him something which He hadn't given to any previous prophet. La ilaha illallah was connected with Muhammadur Rasulullah. Whoever will mention the name of Allah, the connective will be Muhammadur Rasulullah. when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to touch the mountain will become softened. The date that had the privilege of being touched by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would become esteemed. The disbelievers were aware of the mu'jizat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, of the miracles of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There was a disbeliever. And he was carrying a dead animal on his shoulder. And he said to him, "Oh Nabi of Allah, Ay Muhammad, I've heard that you're a prophet. If you are truly a prophet, and the dead animal," he says, "if you can bring it to life, then I'll bring belief. If you can bring it to life, I'll bring belief." So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam instructed the dead animal. He called it by its name. And he called it by its name, and the animal became alive, and he says, "Labbaik." To Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says, he became alive, and he says, "I am present before you. I am present for your instructions." So he became astonished that the dead animal can come to life. So he asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his amazement, when he was awestruck, and he says, "Who do you worship?" He says, "I worship the one who owns the heavens. I worship the one who owns the oceans. I worship the one who owns Jahannam. I worship the one who owns Jannah." And the animal, when he was asked, "Who am I?" he said that you are the Rasul of Allah. You are the Rasul of Allah. This is the privilege, the honor of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We are believers. A person cannot be classified a believer until he has brought belief in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is part of faith, a condition of belief in Allah. When Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left the world, the Sahaba became, it was a disaster. Albaqarah Siddiq, he instructed Abu Huraira. He was in distress and he wasn't calling the adhan, so he instructed him to call the adhan. He says, "Oh Abu Huraira, call the adhan, call the adhan." He shouted at him. He says, "Look, it's the time of adhan, call the adhan." Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. As when he came to those words, He couldn't continue. He became overwhelmed with emotion and he started crying. This was the love and attachment Sahaba they had for the Rasul of Allah. They gave up their health and they gave up their wealth. Just through this intention, just through this ambition for the love and attachment of Prophet Allah, He had accepted them. When Nabi Sallallahu used to sit, and he used to have his cloak. When the birds used to sit, they did not want to move from the cloak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "O you who believe, save yourselves and save your families to the nearest effect from the fire." When this verse was revealed, a Sahabi, he became unconscious, and the people around him were reading the kalima, and they were reciting the kalima, and he came back to his senses. And so when he came back to his senses, they continued reciting the kalima. He joined them and he passed away in that state. And when the soul will depart and it is in communion with Allah, then Allah, He takes pride over that soul, over that person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he advised Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that inform the people, inform your ummah, that the one who will live his life in fear of me, and he will continue to, and he will die in this state, then I will be his custodian. I will take care of him, and I will make him reach Jannah. To pray our salah, to read our Qur'an, to have communion with Allah, to think about that day, the day of Qiyamah. This was Sahaba. They used to cry loudly. So when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was listening to a Sahabi crying this way, he gave him glad tidings in the morning. He said, when you were crying at night, that time you were crying, the Malaika in the heavens, they also joined you in your crying. When the person will become far adrift of these realities, then his heart will be filled with dunya. O insan, how can you be deceived from Allah? How can you be taken away? How can you become distant from Allah? What is it that busies you? Allah is asking the whole of mankind. How can you be deceived? The one who has had so much mercy on us, He's given us so many blessings. Abu Jahl, he had power, and because of his power, because of his association of that power, he would not humble himself before Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. At the time of his death, he had so much pride that even at the time of his death, he's telling his people, seclude me in a way so that people don't see my weakness. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he taught his ashab akhirah. And he used to make dua to Allah, keep me amongst the masakeen, keep me amongst the poor. Oh Allah, on the day of judgment, raise me amongst the poor. Muslims today, we miss our salah, fard salah, in pursuit of dunya. The one who misses his fard salat, what a grave sin. It's mentioned in hadith that one person who hasn't prayed one prayer, he's missed one prayer, then 40 households are affected. 40 households are affected by that sin in an adverse way. The one who's lazy with his prayer. One Sahabi, his camel went towards the jungle, and he went hunting for it. He says, why are you stressing? So why are you stressing over that camel that's just gone loose and he's gone into the jungle? He says, no, I'm not stressing for the camel. I'm fearful of missing my Fajr prayer. The one who has no Fajr in his life, the one who has no Tilawah, the one who has no dhikr in his life. And then he wonders how he is affected by jealousy, by black magic, by people. He has exposed himself. He has exposed himself. He has made himself vulnerable because his life is empty of amal. The house where there is no amal, the house has become vulnerable. The house has become exposed. The household. Sisters in the house. The one who prays, the one who does her dhikr, and when she cooks with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. She takes the name of Allah before cooking. Before she cooks a curry, and she says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This food that's produced, the ones who will partake from this food, the people who will take from this food, he will have love for the Rahman. And the house where there is no amal, and food is cooked with no bismillah, with no dhikr and no amal, then when that food is consumed, that food will make that person distant from Allah, disobedient to Allah. Allah has given us such means, khazana, the Qur'an, the power of the Qur'an, hadith. Where there is no doubt, so we have to build our yaqeen. There's a Jamaat that came from one area, and Amir had a spirit of sacrifice. He was walking Jamaat for a year. So when he used to gather the Ijtimai funds for the brothers, he used to get the person to read Surah Kawthar 41 times. They said that they collected just once, just like £10 each. For 7 months they kept going. The power of Qur'an, the power of Amal, the power of Yaqeen. This is the barakah of the kalam of Allah. We become dependent on beings other than Allah. Nabi Sallallahu he did not allow for any people, any person, individual, any nation to be left without the right education, without the right upbringing. And the foundation of the education was to bring people on Amal. Nabi Sallallahu was moving one time with a disbeliever, and the camel, the ride, it died. He said, "This is no problem. Allah He took the camel. He can bring him back to life. He made tayammum in the desert, prayed 2 rakats. He says, and he sought from Allah. He says, "Oh Allah, this is a necessity for your path." And he says, "Qum bi'idhnillah," and he came back to life. This is the foundation, the fountainhead of Amal is Salat. One Sahabi, he was ill in his ear, and he read this ayah, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ. And he mentioned it to Nabi Sallallahu, because you understand the power of this ayah. This ayah is so powerful that it can bring the dead back to life. Right? This power is available. The availability is dependent, is conditional on yaqeen. So he made dua to Allah. He says, "Oh Allah, I'm your slave." And he put his trust in Allah. the condition is that the yaqeen must be fixed on a'mal, not on mal. Big kings, big men of the past, the basis of their success was not on their kingdom, on their wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has elevated the Sahaba and the empires on a'mal. The person who will have the basic connection with Allah, at the time of musibah, he will turn to Allah. How is it that a slave of Allah will ask from Allah and Allah will not grant him? The amal that descended upon Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, every mu'min should become the carrier of these amal. The effort of da'wah, the effort of tabligh is to bring people on a'mal and is to make effort upon a'mal and is to move with a'mal. The person who will move with the foundation of a'mal in his life, then Allah, He will make him independent. And the sayings of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there should be no doubt within. And there should be no doubt and there should be no delay. We should make dua to Allah that Allah remove the false yaqeen from our hearts. Sahabi was making dua to Allah. Aisha radiallahu anha, she says to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what an amazing guy is reading this dua. He is beseeching affirmity in his iman. And he's saying to Allah that make my heart resolute upon iman. In Urdu they call it ulut pulut. In Bangla they say ulta fulta. Don't make my heart, keep my heart firm. So the person is he prays, he practices as a Muslim, and he goes to a wedding. He finds himself in a wedding, and then he sees the environment around him and sees people standing and eating like animals. And then they ask him, "Why are you eating like this?" He says, "Oh, it's what can you do? It's the environment. Majboor." Majboor meaning like circumstantial, because of circumstance. He says the person who makes this level of compromise, and he will make compromise after compromise, then his iman will get to the condition where he will become like the ill person. He will make excuses to break the commands of Allah. Like the ill person, he says, I can't, I'm ill, making excuses. the person will find himself at this stage where he will find excuses to be disobedient to Allah, where he will begin with those compromises. The person who is a believer, when he's stricken with illness, his illness will become a means for his maqam to rise with Allah. Illness will not be an excuse for that person. To make Allah happy. Halat, when we have conditions, when we have tests, they don't come because Allah He wants to make us zaleel, He wants to disgrace us, or He wants to weaken us. They come as a process of strengthening. They come as a process of raising our status. Just recited the dua. Whoever recites the dua 3 times in the morning, then Allah He will declare to the angels that the Jannah should become wajib for that person. The one with Iman, under any circumstance, under any environment, he will not become unmindful of Allah. His awareness will be fixated to Allah. Allah He will send a test. Is he for real? Is he sincere? The tests will come, and the test will come as a means of elevation. One Sahabi, he wanted to do something, that I do something and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will praise me. He was praising Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Such love the Sahabi he had for the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He would continue to praise Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, despite being oppressed by an oppressive king. Every time he will praise Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he will have a part of his body cut. And he will continue to praise Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he said that even if you took my neck, I will continue in my praise. Why? How could a human being get to this level? Because he has removed everything other than Allah from his heart. The ghayr has been removed. When his life is on the basis, on the foundation of amal, he is not affected by the things of this world. The promise of Allah. The promise of success in this world and in the hereafter. It's not that he will be successful here and he will not be successful. He will be successful hereafter, he won't be successful here. when the angel of death will come, he will test the person at the time of their death. He will listen to what's surfacing from the tongue of the person. The azan, tilawah, dhikr. And the angels will come of Jannah, and he will instruct them that take his soul. And Allah, he will bring Jannah in front of this person. When this will be presented before him, he will have such awe and he will have such excitement that the world will become a burden for him, and he will become restless to leave this world to enter his Jannah. And Allah, he will remove his soul with such ease that the pangs of death will be made so easy for him. The pain will be equivalent to that of removing a hair from the body. And the person who lived his life on the basis of dunya, and he will listen to, he will get close to that person. He will listen to the person, what's surfacing from his tongue, what's going through his head. And Malakul Maut, Azrael, he will become worried, and the angels of Jahannam will be deputed. And they will smell so terrible, the angels of Jahannam, that if the living person was to smell how they smelt, they would die instantly. He'll be instructed that this khabis ruh, this dirty soul, remove him. And in one hadith is mentioned that the pangs of his death will be so severe, is as if the pain of skinning an animal alive. This is the pain that he will feel at the time where his ruh will be departing his body. This is the person whose basis was this world. His foundation was belief in this world, in the things of this world. No one has and no one will ever become successful with the yaqeen on the foundation of the dunya. For this, my beloved brothers and elders, the example of Dawah Imam Ghazali has given, Iman, he has been given the example of a beautiful garden. Beautiful vegetation, beautiful flowers. It won't be necessary to destroy the garden, actively destroy the garden. To destroy a beautiful garden, you just leave it. By default and by nature, it will become destroyed. And even from this beautiful garden, we'll find that a time will come that the very beautiful garden will become a very unpleasant place, a very unsavory place. There will be thorns and pricks and infestation and animals. Imam Ghazali has said the the example of Dawah in its association with Iman is this example. That in order to keep the Iman intact, it's necessary to continue to make an effort of beautifying. So the person with Iman, with beautiful Iman, will become destroyed. And he doesn't have to actively destroy himself. This will happen by default. This will happen by just letting himself go. Just not make an effort. And the person will destroy himself and his children. And the example of Imam Ghazali will fit in. That the person will self-destruct. The person who doesn't make worry for his Iman. He doesn't make an effort for his Iman. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will come, they said the time will come where the son will kill his father and the father will kill his son and the brothers will kill each other for wealth. A time will come where the guest will be afraid of the host and the host will be afraid of the guest. The conditions that we find ourselves in today, why have they come about? It's because we haven't made an effort on our deen. In hadith is mentioned, we invite one guest, 10 barakat will come, 10 rahmah will come, and Allah He will remove 10 musibah, 10 afflictions from our lives. Why are guests scared of the host and the host scared of his guests? Why has that time come? So our garden of Iman, we have to safeguard. We have to beautify. And our children will become of such that they will become men who stand before Allah at night. They will become people who find satisfaction and comfort and sweetness in reading the Qur'an. Shaykh is making a request. This is Mufti, the speaker today is Mufti. He's making a special request. He's saying that the ta'aleem in our houses, there's a Maulana who had 2 children, one 4 years, one 5 years. Beautiful, like little angels. I asked him, Ta'al, come. And I asked him, who's bigger than you? He says, Allahu Akbar, hada asghar minni. He says, Allah is great and everything else is smaller. We should give a focus, a special focus for the people of our household. And if we take care of them, then they will take care of our garden. Our own Iman will be safeguarded when we take care of them. And the example of the person whose dunya has become his family. Allah knows where his children have got. At this time in the Markaz, the demand is that we make a worry. And we make a worry around the whole world. Wherever our brothers are, we must safeguard our Iman, the Iman of our brothers. It's to make Tabligh to kuffar. It says it's necessary to make effort on our brothers, on our Muslims. We went for Jawla one time. He says, you're Muslim? It was a Muslim name that was on the card. He says, no, I'm not Muslim. My father used to be Muslim. He says, there's another person who says, you're Muslim? He says, yeah, I'm Muslim. Okay, now. The people become very distant, and it happens by default. It happens without effort, that there will be a gradual and rapid degeneration. So now, people from different places, different ideologies, different mentalities, and different foods and different languages, coming together to learn Deen, to establish Deen, to bring forward the Deen. Hazrat Bilal was from Habasha, but the Majlis of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he took so much benefit, and Allah, He elevated him. Another example from Ibn Ghazali about the efforts of Dawah. It says there's the ocean, and then there's the drops on the ocean. Just like the tree and its roots. When the roots are destroyed, no matter how big and large the tree will be, the tree will lose its power, will go down. So like this, the person who will abandon the work of da'wah and he will become distant from this da'wah, then his life will be full of ahwal. So who is the one who's ready, in association with this azim effort, that I want to do this effort, whether they agree with me, whether people agree with me or not, whether they speak good about me or not. This backbiting, talking, this is a great evil. Shaykh Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib, rahimahullah, it says a person made effort for years. We should never, our elders, we should never listen. We should never allow an opportunity to listen bad of others. If we give ourselves this opportunity, if we give someone the opportunity to utter those words, then a seed of disease is planted into our hearts. We will begin to subliminally detest that person that's spoken about. So for my iman, to safeguard our imans, for our own selves, who is ready to make intention, inshallah. Bismillah, please stand up and give your names one by one.